Hey guys, welcome to this week's King Closer Reacts. I'm the King Closer, RJ Bates III, and today we have a special version of the King Closer Reacts. Got my partner, Mr. Nick Robbins, on here, as well as JW. JW, how you feeling this morning?
I feel great.
Yeah, all right. So JW is the man on the hot seat. This is the first time we've done a reaction video where we've had the actual closer on the reaction with me. But the reason why we're doing it this way is because every single Thursday inside of Titanium University, we do live seller call reactions. So this is actually a Titanium University implementation call. We're just kind of making it special for this YouTube video. So JW, on this deal, you end up getting 6 properties on one dial. Now, I listened to the first 10 seconds of this in preparation because I don't want to listen too much. But it sounds like this is like the second call with the seller. Is that correct?
No, we had. I don't think so. You should have the very first one.
Okay. Well, it sounds like when you call them, like you're like, hey, what's the address? You kind of rolled right into what's the address and stuff like that. So I just wanted to
We
make
might have
sure.
got disconnect. Yeah, we might have got disconnected. Hopefully, I sent the right call over.
Well, if you didn't, we'll figure it out pretty soon.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, but I'm excited for it. So the background is that this is really the first time you talked to him. Was there any texting or emailing or anything like that went on behind the scenes?
No, it was first call. We might have had a phone disconnection or something, but yeah, it was first call.
All right, well, let's get to it. You nervous?
A little bit.
You shouldn't be. You have 6 properties under contract, so who cares about my opinion? My opinion should be good. So let's get to it.
Hello.
Hey, yes, sir. This is JW. How are you doing, Thomas?
Good, JW. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm that house is in Columbus, Mississippi. Is that right?
Yes.
And it's 47 Lindy Drive.
47 and 49 Lindy Drive. Yes, it's a duplex.
Okay. I'm having trouble getting that to pull up, so that's the reason I was trying to make sure I had
Lindy. It pulls up on Zillow or Google Maps. You know.
Well, yes. Okay. Now I see it. 47 Lindy Drive. I see it on. And then Zillow shows 102 Lindy Drive. You said 47 and 49.
Yes.
Okay. Huh. Let me try a different way. I've got a tool that I use as well that pulls stuff up, and it's not pulling it up there, but I'll find it here in just a minute. How much are you looking to get for that?
Well, I think it's worth 100, like it sits. You know. I had sold the property contract for deed, and then the person ran into financial trouble, and then so I'm taking the property back.
Okay.
And I just responded to something that I saw on Facebook, and I don't really want to go through a realtor and do all that,
Sure.
So I'd probably just take an offer on it,
Okay. No, fair enough.
So that's always a good start when I say I'll probably just take an offer for it, right? So for the people that it changes, yeah. So for the people that are not a part of Titanium University watching this, explain what you're doing there early on when you're kind of asking about the address. What were you doing on your computer behind the scenes there?
So I pulled it up on PropStream, and the address did not pull up. So he's giving me the address. It's not there, and I'm trying to dial into Google Maps and find exactly where it's located and zoom into it so that I can find it on PropStream.
Okay. Now the title of this, JW, is this is the right call, right?
This is the right call. Yeah, we're good.
All right, we're good. So the title of this is 6 properties, but he only gives you an address for a duplex to start off. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. That's It's an interesting way to start this.
Is it currently occupied?
Yes, and let me tell you, it's in the county school district instead of the city school district, so it's always rented all the time.
Okay.
I've never had any vacancy. It's under rented at $500 per unit, so it's paying at $1,000.
Okay.
But it's under rented. Everybody's telling me it's under rented. I've never raised the rent in the last 15, 20 years, really.
Why did you go with the occupancy right out of the gates there?
I don't have a good answer for that. I was just trying to I'm still trying to find the property. I'm not finding any comps. I'm not finding anything on anywhere. So I don't have any idea how to get a value. So in my mind, I'm thinking if I can figure out what he's renting it for, then, I mean, at least I can get a percentage of and back into the deal somehow, because I'm still struggling to find the property at this time.
Do you think that's because it's a duplex, or do you think it's because it's in a rural location in Mississippi? It's
not a super rural location because all the other ones pulled up. It like he said, it's in the county. And we'll get to it here in just a minute. It's like behind a body shop, and it's it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's off the beaten path, but it's not in the stream of all the other houses.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Just because I sold it and then didn't do any work on it, and so it needs to be updated. It needs a new roof, that kind of stuff. The roof's okay. It's not really leaking anywhere. It's just old, you know.
Okay.
It's got a new septic system, and it has new units. The air conditioning units are pretty new.
Okay.
Central heat and air. It's a brick duplex, central heat and air.
Okay.
In both units.
And it's right off of
Highway 50.
Highway 50. Yes, sir. What I'm doing is I'm trying to get some comps. Full disclosure, I heard what you were telling me, but I might have to go back and ask you some of those
That's okay.
questions
I know
again.
you got your mind on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to locate it so I can get so I can at least have a semi-intelligent conversation with you there.
You know what's hilarious is I actually don't mind when I run into this situation where, like, I cannot find the property anywhere. I can't pull it up, because it naturally makes you become more real with the seller. Like, it forces you into that brutal honesty where you're like, yeah, I can't even find this on Google Street View. Like, are you sure this exists? Like, can you give me another landmark to look for? And anything that we're doing inside the closure formula, right? We want to lead to having like that real, raw, authentic conversation. And so even like right there, I mean, it's just, that's your personality coming out. I love how you threw that in there where you're like, I'm just trying to find some information so I can have a semi-intelligent conversation with you, you know, like I love seeing that.
Lindy is it a pretty small town?
Columbus, Mississippi.
Oh, it's in Columbus? Oh, wait,
Yes.
Hang on. Okay.
It's Lindy Drive.
They're in Columbus. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Columbus is a town of about, the town is about 28,000, and then the county's around 60,000.
Okay.
It's right in what's called the Golden Triangle, which is Columbus, Starkville, and West Point.
Okay.
We've got Mississippi State University is in Starkville, and then
yes, sir.
Columbus, we have Mississippi University for Women. We also
It's where they manufacture cowbells down there. Mississippi
right.
State. I just want to point this out. This is a different mindset. I'm so proud of you, JW, man. This is unbelievable. Because what you just said, it's not super rural. To everyone else, this guy just said this is a city or a county or something like that at 28,000, and the county is 60,000. To everyone else in this industry, that is rural. This is the different mindset that we have here at Titanium, where it's like, no, that's not rural. That's just a location that I'm going to do 6 properties in this year because I can find buyers there. The competition there is going to be very minimal. And I love the fact that your mindset is that that's not rural, because your background was, when did you come to the closers formula? Was it October 2023?
Yeah.
Would you have thought that was rural in October 2023?
I don't know that I would have, because I mean that's what I operate in most of the time. I mean, it's just a little small town in Mississippi.
Yeah, I love it.
We also have Columbus Air Force Base, which is right close by. And then the Tombigbee River, the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway runs right by there too. So it's a pretty good area. The if anything, the town is moving up, not down, I think.
Sure.
You know.
Well,
I just don't want rental property anymore. I'm 61 years old and I've been doing it. I'm sick and tired of the tenants. Even though that property had good tenants, because the school system is really good out there where that one is. It's just over the line into the county, so it's New Hope School District as opposed to the city school district. So that the county schools are better than the city schools, so everybody's trying to get to the county, you know.
Okay.
So what just happened there? You haven't really, you're still trying to locate the property, right? And just by having a simple conversation, what did he just disclose? All of his pain and motivation, right? 61 years old, tired of dealing with the tenants. These tenants are good, but he's still just tired of dealing with tenants. That's what we're looking for in the first 5 minutes of the conversation, right? The 2 most important things: price, motivation. So you have the price. Now you understand his motivation. So what bucket are you placing this seller in at this point?
I mean, he's highly motivated. I still don't know if the price is right yet, because I still haven't found the property.
I'm telling you, just based off of the rent rate and the price, because he said 100,000, right?
That's right.
And $1,000 in rent, $500 each side. I'm assuming that is highly motivated, wrong price. 100,000 is probably not going to be the price we need to be at.
No, 100,000 is not the price we need to be at. No, you're right.
Right. So that's where I'm just putting it, just based off of the rent rate and the price. No way in the world this is a 1% rental location. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So that's where I'm putting it, just without even knowing the ARV. So now we have to reverse engineer. We actually have to get real numbers and then eventually start the explanation, the educating of the seller. Love where you are so far, even with the difficult. I swear to God, Cassie said this is not a word, but I keep saying difficultiness. Nick, is that a word?
I don't think so.
What am I supposed to say when I want to say difficultiness?
The difficulty of the call.
That's not. No, get out of here.
Wait, real quick. What I do want to say, though, is you staying patient while trying to find the property and letting him talk puts you right in the driver's seat, right? Because RJ, you talk about it all the time. You want him to be selling you on the property. I mean, you know all about the neighborhood, the school district now, how great it is right next to Mississippi State. And just that ability to stay poised and patient where others might jump off and be like, oh, I need to do some research and get back to you, or I can't find it, or start talking too much. You did such an amazing job just staying poised here and looking for it. So, I mean, it just opened him up so much.
Yes.
Thanks. So in the call, you're asking me what bucket I'm putting him in, RJ. I haven't even processed all of that in the call, because I'm still trying to find it. I do hear the motivation, but as far as computing in my mind anything on the price, I haven't got there.
And I completely understand that, because I mean, it is on a typical call. there's a lot going on, right? We're trying to pull this up on Google Street View, pull it in multiple comping softwares, probably pull it up on Zillow so we can verify what is the actual rent rate, because he said it's under the actual rent rate. So there's a lot that we're trying to accomplish, and you can't even get it to pull up anywhere. So yeah, there's a little bit of like nervousness, and that's why I appreciate the fact that you said that to him, where you're like, hey, I might have to ask you that question again. Don't get upset if I have to ask you that again.
Graphics in Columbus are, Columbus is like 60-40 black to white, but the county is more like 60-40 the opposite way, white to black.
Okay.
And so those properties, that duplex has never ever had a vacancy. I mean, it's just I've never ever once had a vacancy in it, because it's just a desirable place to live.
Well, it sounds like it. I've found Lindy Drive on my tool here, so I am making progress. Are you just behind the MGM paint and body?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
All right.
Yep. Yep.
Now we're in business. So I'm showing 1,920 square feet. Is that accurate?
That sounds right.
Okay.
Yep.
And each unit, so it's a duplex. Are the units 2-bed, 1-bath?
Yeah, 2-bed, 1-bath with
Okay.
big living room, kitchen. When you walk in.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I'm going to say here, and I understand where you're coming from, because you almost have to now rewind and think about everything that he's told you and then try to figure out where you want to pick up the conversation. But right now you are falling into machine gun close-in questions, right? Is it 1,900 square feet? Is it a 2-1? And what does that lead to? That leads to him saying, yep. So what are we doing? We're not getting him to talk, and you're having to come up with more questions. This is a hard one, right? Because I'm even trying to think about, well, what is a question that we could really kind of get him to open up? Maybe what I always like to look back to is the pain and motivation, right? You didn't really ask any questions in regards to that. So I might want to look back to that and say, so you said you're tired of dealing with tenants. What's been going on? What makes you tired of dealing with them? Because I'm sure the cash flow has been good, or maybe you can, connect with them on that level because you're also a landlord yourself, right? And try to pull that out of them a little bit, because we don't want to get into too many closed-ended questions in a row, because that should just be to buy you time. Is that what you're doing here? Just you don't know what to ask, so you're kind of just buying yourself time?
There's still not a lot of information. I'm just trying to understand exactly what I've got. I mean, in my mind, he's told me about the roof. He's told me about the condition of the property. And I mean, I think here pretty quick to go into the education portion of it. Like, in my mind, I think I've got everything that I need. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. Absolutely, I could get him to talk more, but I feel like I've got everything that I need to go into education mode and go for kill.
I got you. Well, I like that. I mean, I don't know how many minutes we're in the call, but anytime you feel like you're in that position, go for it.
At 1920, that's about it. Yeah, so they're just under 1,000 square foot each.
That's right. And they have laundry facilities too, laundry room in the hallway.
Okay.
So yeah. And they have a brand new septic system, treatment plant.
Okay.
They have new units, new central heat and air. They're Goodman units.
Okay.
So they're easy to fix. Anyway, you get parts real easy around here for Goodman units.
Yes, sir.
It does need a new roof, though. The roof's probably, it's old, And there's been some work, new appliances inside, and like we change the floors here and there, new carpet every now and then. But I mean, if somebody came in there and rehabbed them, you could get $1,000 a piece. They say they're under rented because I have
Okay.
not raised the rent. I'm going to say, you know, since I bought them, I was getting $450 for them in 2002, and now they're getting $500. So they're under rented.
Okay.
So that was a that was a really powerful moment there. Because you didn't really do anything to provoke him to give you all of that information. And some of it, he repeated what he had already told you, right? So what do I always say when we have to talk about educating the seller? We have to repeat ourselves, right? We have to go into our pain from our side where it's like, we're going to have to do a new roof. We're going to have to do, paint and carpet, whatever it is that we had to do. Maybe explain the rent rate and what's going on there. And we eventually want that seller to then start repeating our answers back to us. But one thing that's happened here is that this seller has showcased that he is so motivated that without really a lot of provoking him early on, he has continuously tried to sell you on the property, which is what the position we want the seller to be in, right? Be a seller, sell us on it. He is selling you on the property and bringing up some things like it does need a new roof, but a lot of the benefits that are coming along, I really like that because I think that could eventually lead to him being a little bit more open to understanding the education that you could give him if the price is wrong. That was a really powerful moment there because that just leads me to believe that he's open to something less than what he's saying. Maybe not at first, but eventually.
How long have those tenants, your current tenants, been in the properties?
The guy that's in the 47, Lindy, has been there for 6 years. And I'm going to say the girl next door has been in there for 5 years.
Okay, so they've both been there for a while.
And they're just month to month. We did not sign a new lease with them.
Okay.
They just do month to month from what they're paying. And I just never raised the rent on them,
Right. And you think the property's worth $100,000? Is that what you said?
Well, people are telling me it's worth more than that, but it needs work.
I love it. That's listen, for everything that went wrong with this, like not being able to get the property pulled up, that can completely throw you out of your rhythm with the formula, right? You never really got to ask them, like, tell me a little bit about what's going on, which then leads you to other open-ended questions based off of that. This moment right here was like your reset moment, though, because you've asked for the price, you understand pain and motivation. So what do we always want to do? We want to revisit price. And how do you revisit it? Exact what you just said right there. As a picture per. So you think this house is worth, you think the property's worth $100,000? However you want to say that in that question inquisitive form, because I can already tell he's going to give you like a long-winded answer. The answer is not, yep. He's now going to explain to you why he's coming up with $100,000, which is exactly what you want to understand. Because do you know what your offer is at this point?
I have an idea. I've plugged it in, and you're probably going to cringe here in just a little bit where I go, but because I go into the education, but we'll see. Maybe it wasn't so bad. It's just a different style that I take with sellers like that. I mean, he knows the game, like he understands. He's a landlord. It's not a typical seller. So, yeah, let's see what you have to say about the next part.
What's your offer?
I'm thinking I need to be in the $60,000 to $70,000 range is my thought. I think the ARV is 135 based on what he's telling me after you go in and put a roof, do some rehab, and I still haven't found any rent rates. So I'm going off of the rent rates that he's telling me. I mean, that's what I'm basing everything off of because I'm still really flying blind.
So you say you buy it for 60, you put like 30 to 40 into it, you're all in at 100,000 and you rent it for 2. So it's a 2% rental.
That's kind of what's in my mind.
It's a banger of a deal if you can get that. Sounds exactly right. You're right by a college town, a massive state college town too. I like it.
You know what I mean? It needs,
No,
you know.
yeah, yes, sir.
So,
And here's what I'm trying to figure out on my side is, and I agree. I think once they're fixed up, they're worth more. How much is it going to cost to fix them up, and then how much can you really rent them for after that's done? I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're telling me.
yeah, there's on paper and then there's reality.
Yes, sir. And I
But
know
see, I don't know that they can rent for $1,000 a month. That's what comparatively people are telling me in that district, you know, that things are going for. So, and if they were updated really nice, they could get that. But I'm not so sure if you don't have to update them that much. See, I would say as they sit right now, you could get $650.
Okay.
If those people moved out, you could easily get $650, and that's in reality.
Sure.
But if they were totally redone, then you could probably get $850 or $900.
Did you ever think about asking him who was telling him this information?
No, I didn't.
The only reason why I would say maybe you would ask that is because you want to know if you're battling a realtor for the deal. You know what I'm saying? Because he has said it multiple times. That's what people are telling me. It's like, well, I mean, I'm just imagining him. It's like, it's either one of two things. He's called a realtor, or this is such a small town. Like he goes to the breakfast cafe every morning, and it's like they're all just sitting around talking about how much the property could rent for. It's like, who's they? Where's this conversation taking place? You know?
For sure. But people are telling me 1,000, and I'm like, that's a realtor that told me 1,000, and I don't know that I believe that. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's Mississippi.
it seems seems a little. It seems like a lot. And I noticed you've got quite a few properties. You've got 14 properties or so.
Yeah, and I'm selling them all if anybody wants to buy them. You know,
And
I'd probably sell those for $10,000 a piece, something like that. You know, because they all need work too. You know.
Okay.
How excited are you at this moment?
I am about to come out of my chair. Like I don't know what, and it does. So come to find out, he doesn't have 14. He's already sold some of them. He's only got 5 left. But I really get excited in just a second when he throws this number out at me, because I still think it's 14 properties versus 6.
Yeah, I bet you do. Okay. So for the people that are wondering, like, how all of a sudden did you say, well, I'm seeing that you have 14 properties. Where did you find that information?
On PropStream, it says linked properties. And so I clicked on there. I still don't really have any comps. There's no other duplexes that I can find. And I'm just kind of basing everything off the rates and what he's telling me. So I can't find it on Google. I mean, I can't find the base anywhere to get a visual of it. And so I'm just going to list him in around on PropStream.
Gotcha. Love that. So PropStream, linked properties. That's how you were able to figure out that he has 14 properties. And what's hilarious about that is so far throughout the conversation, he hasn't mentioned really these other properties at all. I'm almost wondering if you don't mention that, if you end up just getting a contract on the duplex and you don't get the other properties. You know what I'm saying? Maybe down the road he mentions it or something, but I mean, that pivotal question right there really opened up that opportunity.
Well, I mean, I can definitely help you with that. Let me kind of let you know what let's look at one at a time and kind of go from
Okay.
there. Here's kind of what I'm thinking. I think updated your property that you've got, the duplex we're looking at is
Mhm.
around 135.
Just totally updated. Yeah.
I think so, with
Sounds about right.
with a new roof and you'd have to go in and obviously rehab them and do those. Now, do you have another
Mhm.
duplex? That there it is at 45 Lindy. Sorry. The cost that it's going to be, I figure it's going to cost about $45,000 to go in and redo those things.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. That
And,
sounds.
This is going good.
Mhm.
I mean, he just right off the bat there said if we have no closing costs, no holding costs, no anything, it sounds about right to sell it for 90. Right? No profit, no anything. Because you said 135, 45. I mean, at this point, it feels like he has to be willing and open to accepting something in the $60,000 range. Just based off of his responses. Otherwise, he's literally going to be like, yeah, I don't expect you to make any money. This is why I love educating sellers, because the way you broke it down, you're reverse engineering it too, right? You start with the ARV,
Mhm.
and then you go into the rehab, and then eventually we come to the number, and then that's where we stop, is on our number. So they're not really thinking about anything else outside of the fact that this is where we need to be. So I love the explanation so far.
Sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds, because
Okay.
it takes 10 to do the roof, and then another 10, another 15 per side.
Yes, sir.
Do new carpet, new this and that, new countertops, and that kind of thing.
Right. And if I could get this done for you in a reasonable amount of time, I mean, what do you think the very best price you could do for me would be?
I wouldn't want to go below 90. But
Okay.
I'd probably do not. I would definitely. Now I might do, like, if somebody came in and bought all of my properties and just took them off my hands, I'd probably take, if I could get 135 for all of it. You see what I'm saying?
So
In other words,
I'm showing you've got 14 total properties. Is that right?
no. Okay, some of those are already sold, and some of them are just lots. So there's 2 houses on Moss Street
Hang
that
on
are already sold. Yeah.
Let me grab a piece of paper real quick.
Okay.
Tell me what properties you have right now.
You thought you were about to buy 13 other properties for 45 grand?
Yeah,
but
I did.
you were coming unglued.
I did.
Yeah. So what's interesting is that you asked him what's the best price he could do for you without making an offer. And it's not that I don't like that. I actually kind of did like how it worked out, because the way that you reverse engineered it. Like you said, okay, ARV 135. I'm thinking 45 in rehab, which is 90. What's the best price you could do for me? He says, I wouldn't want to go below 90. Very awkward response by him, right? I don't think he was doing the math in his head. Or he just didn't care about anything you said, and he's just going based off of the number that he was going to go off of. But then he immediately transitioned it to let's see if we can do all of the properties. So now it becomes it's almost like you just hit the reset at the halfway point of this conversation, right? Because now we have to start talking about all of them instead of just that one. So far, bro, I mean, I've really liked everything that you've done. I know you said there was going to be a part there that I didn't like, but I don't know what you're talking about. I've enjoyed all of it.
I was just unsure on the education part as far as going through through that end of it and starting at the one. It's just ironic to me that I throw out 135 and then he goes, well, I'll sell all of them for 135.
Right.
Yeah, that was the only question.
I think he already had his numbers in mind. I mean, just being
Mm.
honest with you. Because how many other properties is it? It's four other properties?
5 properties, and it comes out later. So the guy that he did the contract for deed, the guy owes 35. So I think you're probably right when you say that, like his number. I think it just was coincidence that I threw out 135 on the ARV of the duplex. I owe him 135. He wants to get. He's got a 60 on one of the properties. He's just trying to recoup his money done and be out of the game.
Yeah.
Okay,
That you want to sell.
All right, here's the ones that I have that I want to sell. Yeah, you got a piece of paper and pencil.
Yes,
All right,
yes, sir.
it's a 2708 6th Avenue North.
Okay.
Or is that, it might be 2705.
Let me.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Hold on. I've got it written down.
I can't believe it's hard for you to look these up when he doesn't even know the addresses.
Yes, sir.
6th Avenue
Yeah.
North. Yes.
Yes, sir. And that's a
That is a
739 square foot. Is that a 2-bed, 1-bath?
That's right, and that's
Okay.
a brick house, and it's by Probst Park, so it's in a pretty decent area.
Okay.
I always rented that for somewhere around $500 a month. You know,
Okay.
I always had that rented, but it's vacant. All these are vacant because when I took them back from this guy, he didn't keep them rented, and he just left town, and then I didn't watch it, and then so they're empty right now. So 2708 6th Avenue North.
Okay.
Also 207 Burns Circle. Byrnes Circle.
Okay. There it is.
That's another 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and that's in a pretty nice little neighborhood. It's got two big old oak trees out in front of it.
What'd you rent it for?
Yeah, probably about $400 a month on that
Okay.
one. It's small. It's a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
And then I got another little small house, 705 22nd Street North. 705 22nd Street North. That's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. I always had these rented. I mean, as long as they were up good enough, they would rent. If there was running water and electricity, I could rent.
Okay. What'd you rent that one for? Do you remember?
About $450, same as the other.
Okay.
And that was back a while ago, you know.
Did you say he owes money on these?
I think he told me that he owes $60,000, and I think that might be on the duplex. The other guy owed him, so he sold the other 5 for 135.
Gotcha.
On contract for deed, and I think he tells me that he owes $60,000. I don't know if it's on this call or when I called him back.
Gotcha.
Also, there is 1515 13th Avenue North, and that's at the end of a cul-de-sac, and it's a duplex. It's a wood framed house though, so it's not really. It was like a house that they turned into a duplex. You know what I mean? So it's not it's not like the ones out there on Lindy that are a duplex that are built that way. This was a house that's now a duplex, and I was getting about $600 a month for that.
300 each side.
No, it's more like $450, $150 because one of the apartments is a little tiny thing, like an efficiency.
Okay.
And I was getting like $150 a month. In fact, I let a guy that would just take care of the property and stay in there for free one time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did that for a few years. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's that one, and then the last one is 915 16th Street North, and that one is in terrible shape. It needs to be totally rehauled. So, I mean, I'd have to practically give that one away. You know, it's probably, you know, I'd probably take $5,000 for that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Can you imagine that? $150 a month in rent. First of all, I can't even imagine like telling someone that. Like, you can live here for 100. Like, dude, that's cheaper than like hotel rooms for a night.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's crazy. I mean, how long did he own these?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Because, dude, it feels like he's owned them forever. Because he's
Yeah.
like 500, 400, 150. It's like, dude, you're charging like 1970s rent rates. Like, this is not what these should be renting for. I can promise you. Crazy.
They're pretty rough. When you go look at them on Google, they're pretty rough.
You would
I mean, he
expect
said
$150 a night better be real rough. It
Yeah.
can't be getting much more rough. That's borderline
Well,
swamp.
he said as long as they had running water and electricity, he could keep them rented. So
It's crazy.
but all these are in rentable areas. The thing they're in mostly those the houses that I mentioned to you are in I would say poor neighborhoods. But all those people have to live and they have to pay rent, you know.
we all got to live somewhere.
We gotta live somewhere. And they're, you know, if you can buy those, what I found out with those is I paid too much for those.
Okay.
If you can buy those in Columbus, in a town like Columbus, you make your money when you buy the house, not when you sell it. You know what I mean? So you got to buy them cheap. And so I'm realistic about those houses, you know, all those houses. And so, you know, you know, if I could get 135, 140 for all take home for all the properties, I'd do that. Or if I sell them individually, we could do that too. But that's what I'm saying. I could throw in those other houses if I can get out from under all these.
Sure.
And sell that duplex too out there. Now, if I just sell the duplex, I need to get more for it. I want to at least get 90 for it because I'm now. Then I don't have any bargaining power to sell those bad ones. You know what I mean? And I'm just being totally honest with you.
No, I appreciate it.
You know,
Here's you've been upfront with me. You know, I'm going to do the same with you. Here's what I'm going to do. I think this will work. I'm prepared to send you a contract for each of the properties. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
There's 6 total properties, correct?
That's right.
We've got 6 Burns, 22nd, 13th, another one on 6th, and then duplex. We got 6 properties. So I'll send you a contract on all 6 of them. The only one that's occupied is the one duplex on Lindy. Is that right?
That's right. The duplex and that's right. Those are occupied. The rest are not.
Okay. And then I'm going to need. Would you be able to get me pictures on those properties?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So then
course,
what
and
I'm going to.
And you can also see them on Google Earth. I mean Google Maps. You know how that is.
I'm just going to need some interior photos of them, and a lot of times it's not on that. I'm going to need to get a grasp of that, but. And then, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to reach out to some of my partner investors in the area. I'm going to have to send those pictures to them, and get one of them on board. And then, you know, obviously we're going to have to do some walkthroughs and some inspections. And when I say inspections, I mean we're just got to go physically walk the properties and look at them and make sure that all of that is going to work. What kind of time frame are you looking at wanting to get this done?
Not a major rush.
Okay.
major.
I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna put a 60-day. I'm gonna put a 60-day close on there. We might have to extend that just because of the number of properties that there are, and
Okay.
you know, I'm like you. I think you're. I'm gonna try to package them all up to one person, and just like you said, the duplex is the winner there.
Right.
But
That's
but
right.
I feel like I can make that. I feel that I can make that work. Does all that sound agreeable to you?
Yeah, it all sounds good to me. I do have a lien on 2 of the properties, and that's with SBA. So
Okay. How much do you
close,
owe on them?
it's 62,000.
Okay.
But that, I mean, I could pay that off tomorrow if I wanted to, if I knew.
Sure.
But I mean, we might as well just satisfy that, just pay off SBA at closing. So,
When you made the decision to send the contract, why didn't you try to get a little bit of a discount?
That's a great question. I think I was. Pants were still wet. I don't think they had completely dried. I mean, there was so much stuff going on. I mean, you know, I've got 6 contracts for 135 in my mind. I mean, why go in and do it now? I mean, he's saying yes and get it locked up after we go walk them. I mean, if we have to, I think he's very reasonable. Once they're locked up and he gets the first yes, we've got to renegotiate. Then we just come back at that point. I guess that's my thought process.
RJ, I want to chime in here. It took about 5 minutes or less for you to decide that you were just going to ship the contract on 5 new properties. RJ, you talk about this all the time. If it sounds like a deal, it looks like a deal, just ship the contract, worry about it later. That could have completely thrown off other people. And man, JW, years of tonality, there would have been no way that anyone could know that you were like nervous or pissing your pants on this call. You know what I mean? With the way you handled it. So huge shout out for that, man. The speed to send the contract and this tonality throughout. The presence is incredible, man.
Yeah, the only reason why I asked there is because you did it earlier. You said, hey, what's the best price you could do for me? He said 100 to 90, right? So you got the 10% there, but then he threw in the 5 additional properties and went up to 135. I bet you could have gotten him at 125 if you had said, all right, I'm ready to send you a contract, but one thing I just want to ask is I'm going to cover the closing costs. There's no commissions and anything like that. So with that being said, what's the best price you can do for me if I take care of that on my side? Maybe not, because I don't think it would have pissed him off. But I also agree, Nick, you're right. I say it all the time. Like, if you got a deal on your hands, sometimes you just don't want to even ask because it could piss him off, right? Yeah, and if you're looking at it, it's like, dude, this is a great deal. I have no problem with anybody here ever saying anyone at Titanium is an order taker. Our order taking leads to checks cashed, and that's all that matters. So in this case, JW, it's like, hey, if that number is the magical number and you're excited about it, then you handled it fine. You'd already done it and it already worked. You know, it's like, let's throw it out one more time. That's really the only critique I have during pretty much the entire call. I even like the way that you're handling the timeline here. Love the fact that you gave yourself a cushion, because normally you don't put 60 days on a contract, right?
No.
Yeah. So you're giving yourself a little bit of a cushion. Love all of that. Love it.
Yeah.
Sure. No, 100%. And that's what it'll do. We'll close at a title company. You know, they'll settle that lien will be satisfied, and then you'll get the proceeds. I'm going to cover all closing costs except for your prorated portion of the taxes.
Yeah, exactly. That's
okay.
Right.
All right. I'm fixing to cook lunch real quick, and I will get those contracts sent out to you. Let me make sure I've got.
All right, we don't need to share that. Nothing else crazy happens in the call, right?
No, he when I called him back, I wasn't sure if I was sending one contract with 6 properties on it or if I was sending 6 separate contracts. I was a little lost on that. I ended up sending 6, and I called him to figure out a breakdown of those, and he definitely knew how much he wanted for each one of them when that happened.
So,
Because I was trying to get the duplex lower, and he really dug in on the amount that he wanted for the duplex. That was really the only time we butted heads.
so interesting school of thought here. Couple of things. 6 different contracts. That's absolutely what you need to do. Okay. When you go to write the offer amounts, sorry. I get your, because the first thing I thought of is let's push that duplex down to 60,000, right? Because that's what he owes on it. And then we can spread out the rest. But actually, when you think about it, it would be better to make that duplex the 90,000 because that's what he wants for it. And then these little shit boxes have a much lower price. So when you go to sell those, say you do have to individually assign them to 5, 6 different buyers, they'll be willing to pay that amount, right? Because you don't want to make the duplex such a good deal, but then you end up with a property over here that no one's willing to buy. Interesting. At the end of the day, it's all the same to him. So even if you had to call him and say, hey, I need to redo the contract where this one becomes 70,000 and this one goes another way, you could do that. But bro, across the board, just great call, man. You should be extremely proud of yourself. I can tell you for a fact, right here, I stood next to you at the bar in the kitchen at the closer's formula. There is no way in the world you have that conversation in October.
No, I agree 100%. I'm way too fast. 100% agree with you, RJ.
Dude, you would have killed the deal in the first 45 seconds in October.
I can't comp it.
Yeah, you would have nuked it right out of the start. You would have been like, I can't find it, sir. I'm going to call you back. I can't even figure out where this is. I'll call you back. And it would have been over.
Yeah.
And you set in patience, and eventually you got it pulled up. And then even more so, the fact that it's like while you were analyzing the deal, to have the composure to go to the link properties and find that and ask that question. Like, dude, your thought process is so much deeper when it comes to the closing process here. I don't care what anybody says, dude. I listen to these calls all day, every day. And that right there is on a whole nother level. And the majority of people will listen to that and say he didn't do anything. Exactly. Guess what? That's what closers do. It feels like it didn't even happen. There was no game there. What you did is in 20 minutes, you got 6 properties under contract. What's the average price there? 23,000?
Yeah, 25, something like that.
Yeah. That's just, dude, I'm super proud of you. I've seen the growth. What is that? 7 months? 7 months of growth there. And it's not like you didn't know what you were doing when you showed up here in October. I mean, you were already doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have invested in yourself and the time on getting better. And I think there was a period of time where you were a little bit frustrated, right? Like you were kind of like, I don't know if I can change. Didn't you kind of feel that way for a minute?
I was a lot frustrated, RJ. The one thing that I will tell everybody is the reps make so much difference. I mean, you talk about being a machine and being a rote, like you just go. I can't even tell you what was going on in my mind. It was all just reactionary as to what he was telling me. I wasn't having to think about it. I think that's the difference. Is I was thinking way too much, and I just stopped and just listen.
I love it, man. I'm that's one of my favorite calls that I've gotten to listen to right there, because for the first time in a very long time, there's not a whole lot for me to say I wish you would have done something different. I mean, quite frankly, I was trying to find something. I mean, at the end, I would have hit him with the kill shot. Even the part where you were like, dude, I don't think you're gonna like how I do the education. I thought that was one of the better education to a seller that I have heard, because you didn't talk too much. Which, like, let me reiterate that. I just told JW he didn't talk too much. Damn, bro. Like, next thing you know, I'm going to be saying that to Cassie. Okay. Like, that's on a whole nother level. All right. There was you, and then there's Cassie right above you. Okay. But no, man, that was awesome. Congrats on the deal. What's it looking like? How far along in the process are we?
I'm still waiting on pictures. I'm going to reach him today. I was still trying to finish up. Daniel didn't know what I was going to do yesterday. I was trying to had a crazy seller yesterday, and I had yesterday, so I did not reach out. I'm going to reach out to him and then figure out if he's going to get me those pictures, or if I need to send Noble Notes to get those done. But yeah, that's what.
Gotcha. All right, guys. That's our episode of the King Closer Reacts. Let JW know how much you appreciate him sharing, and also being the first person to sit in and have to, like, literally have me, react in his face. So shout out to JW. Leave us a comment. Make sure you like the video, and we'll see you guys next week on the King Closer Reacts.